Hello and welcome to Your Questions Answered with Father Gruner. I'm John Veneri. This is a daily program in which we take your questions and we discuss them. Father Gruner answers them. Continue to send us your questions you'll see the email at the bottom of the screen, questions@thefatimacenter.com. Today we have a question. It's kind of a long question, but it has to do with the time period of is it too late to prevent the chastisements that Fatima talked about? She says, I was recently at a Fatima conference where a Portuguese speaker said that because of his more concise understanding of the language, he can discern that Our Lady had a time limit for the consecration. And I think it's within the context of the prophecy, the Pope will do it, but it will be late. The consecration, he says, had to be prayed before World War II. Since it was not, it was essentially too late. That chastisement is in the works, and we have no ability to avoid it anymore. So what would you say about this? This may take more than one program to get through, but let's start.
Okay. Well, first of all, there was a mistranslation, and I looked at the Portuguese myself. And Portuguese is not my first language, but the word "too late" is not in the original writing of.
Yes, because I had heard that too. There was something going around years ago saying that Our Lady supposedly said it will be too late. Yes.
Even though this may be a Portuguese speaker, he has to look at the primary documents first of all. So nowhere does it say in the primary documents that it will be too late, the consecration. So, having said that, secondary reason, if essentially we can do nothing, then why don't we just fold up our tents, go home and do nothing, say nothing, and just wait for the chastisement to come. Now, this is exactly what I've been accused of by Cardinal Bertone, no less. Cardinal Bertone tells us that when we think that nothing can be changed, that we don't agree that prayer and penance can change things. Well, if I believe that, then I wouldn't be doing this for 36 years. Okay, I would just say forget.
Well, that's funny too, because the purpose of what you're doing here at the Fatima Center is to ask the Pope to say a prayer that will enact tremendous change.
Absolutely.
So it's just a false accusation.
Well, no, I think the second thing is that apart from the language, and I have to deal with, there's certain organizations out there, and this sounds like a question from one of them, or the way the speaker spoke. Now, I don't know that, but a few years ago, basically, we have Father Fox on tape. He's not the only person to say, that on the one hand he said the consecration is done, but I'm concerned that we're going to have war. So now, in the same interview, although it was a few minutes apart, maybe not more than an hour apart, but on the same interview, on the same tape, you see him saying on the one hand, the consecration is done, on the other hand, you hear him saying, I'm concerned we're going to have war, more war. Well, it can't be both ways. Our Lady said, when the consecration is done, a period of peace will be given to mankind. Now, we haven't had a period of peace since World War II. In fact, World War II itself has not been even declared over. There's been a ceasefire. Officially speaking, it's a ceasefire. There's never been a truce as such, a final truce. But the fact is, we've had wars every day ever since then, and we have, of course, the war against the unborn with, over 1 billion victims by now since 1984 alone. So anyway, having said this, the language, Our Lady, let's look at the language, and Our Lady says that if mankind does not change, then mankind will be punished by war, famine, persecution of the Church, and persecution of the Holy Father. To prevent this, that is, to prevent these chastisements, I will come to ask the consecration of Russia, and also the consecration of the Communions of Reformation. But let's just leave it to the consecration of Russia for a moment. So to prevent these chastisements, I will come to ask for this. If my requests are granted, Russia will be converted and there will be peace. Understood, without this consecration, and Our Lady said explicitly, without this consecration, the world cannot have peace. Mm-hmm. So what this man is saying basically is we won't have the consecration, and we just have to have complete wars all the time. No, this is an excuse for not doing their part to promote the consecration. Mm-hmm. Basically, anyone who knows Fatima is faced with the question, okay, Our Lady promised we have world peace, but we don't have world peace. And why is that? Well, because we haven't had the consecration. I remember Father Gobi asking me, privately in 1989 when Father Fox came out with, well, the consecration is done. Father Gobi, I met him a few weeks later, and he said to me, Father Gruner, is Father Fox calling the Blessed Virgin a liar? Mm-hmm. I laughed. He was not laughing. He was very serious. I mean, I understand, I agree with him, that to essentially do that is to call the Blessed Virgin a liar. But in this, though, at the end of the day, you have got different groups who promote Fatima, but they have to excuse themselves for not promoting the consecration when it's obvious the consecration hasn't been done. If you don't know by any other means, you know that we haven't had we haven't got peace in the world. I mean, I don't know. Going backwards, we have the Ukraine, we have the Middle East, we have the Chinese islands off there. They're fighting over between Japan and whoever else. I mean, the Chinese have claimed half the Chinese seas that belongs to, according to others, Japan or the Philippines or somewhere else. Anywhere these places can go into a major war. I mean, with the United States being told on Russian television, back off or we can turn you into nuclear waste. That was said in public on Russian TV, and it's said in English, or at least in the caption underneath, so everyone can understand what they were saying. Obviously, we don't have a time of peace. We haven't had a time of peace for a long time. So the point I'm getting at is, that's because we haven't had the consecration. Now, these people who claim to be promoting Fatima, this looks like an excuse to me, simply to say, well, it's too late, we should do nothing about it, so just do nothing about it. No, the answer is, we don't deserve peace. We don't deserve the non-chastisements. But God will give us these benefits if we give the honor, if we give the merit, we give the benefit, if we give her the credit. Mm-hmm. And how are we going to give her the credit? By doing the consecration to the Immaculate Heart. When Russia is converted and the Immaculate Heart brings about the conversion, but God wants us to acknowledge that it's her. So St. Augustine explains very simply. He says, God in his great goodness wants to give us great favors, but he knows that we don't deserve them. And he further knows that because of our pride, we're going to say, oh, I deserve that. You gave me that? That's because I deserve it. You give me some more because I deserve it. No, we're so pride, but no, God knows we don't deserve it, and God knows we're going to become prideful about it. So he's reserved these special favors only to the merits and intercession of the saints. Now, God's reserved the grace of world peace only to the intercession and the merits of the Blessed Virgin, so that the whole world recognizes it wasn't because the Pope was a good guy, it wasn't because Father Gruner was a good guy, it's because of the merits of the Blessed Virgin Mary that we have this world peace. That's all. And so everyone sees that. And so, but we deserve chastisement. We deserve more chastisement than they did in the First World War. But still, even to this day, to prevent that, that's the words of God will punish the world by means of war, famine. We're having war and famine. There's famine in different parts of the world. We have war. We'll have more of it. But to prevent it, from here on forward, do the consecration. Mm-hmm. That's the point. Now, so this thing, do nothing. I mean, this is a do nothing thing, and it's an excuse for them doing nothing. I'm sorry, but and really, I wish they would just simply say, okay, I'm not promoting the whole message of Fatima, say the Blue Army or the World Apostle, whatever they want to call themselves, or the TFP. I'm promoting part of it. Great, promote the part you feel comfortable. But don't excuse yourself from and accuse the rest of us for doing the rest of the work from doing a bad job because we're promoting the rest of it.
I think there's even more we can say about this based on evidence from Sister Lucy herself, but why don't we pick that up in the next program?
Sure, okay.
Okay, thank you.